This discussion covers revisions to National Electrical Code sections 690.13 and 690.14, focusing on clarifying the disconnecting means requirements for solar photovoltaic systems. The primary objective is to define which parts of the solar photovoltaic system are governed by these disconnecting means requirements. Each proposed revision addresses the same core issue, ensuring the disconnecting means serves one primary function: to disconnect the photovoltaic power source at the photovoltaic output circuit. Currently, there are 5 different terms used when referring to the photovoltaic side of the disconnecting means: photovoltaic power source, photovoltaic system conductors, photovoltaic source circuit, and system conductors. Only 2 of these terms are explicitly defined in Section 690.2 of the National Electrical Code. The remaining 3 terms bear a strong resemblance to terms that are defined within Section 690.2. While it is clear that these definitions are not intended to apply to the similar terms, the similarity combined with the absence of corresponding definitions could lead to confusion and the incorrect application of definitions. A particularly problematic example involves the use of the undefined terms photovoltaic system and photovoltaic system conductors alongside the defined term solar photovoltaic system. It might seem reasonable to associate the undefined terms with the definition of solar photovoltaic system. However, this association is not accurate. The solar photovoltaic system is defined as the entire solar power system, encompassing everything from the solar cells to the inverted alternating current power output used by equipment. This broad definition could lead to the misinterpretation of Section 690.14c and subsequent subsections as applying to inverter output circuit disconnecting means, rather than the intended photovoltaic power source disconnecting means. To address this potential for misinterpretation, the proposed revisions aim to improve the organization and consistency of terminology by reducing the use of undefined language. A new definition is proposed for addition to Section 690.2 photovoltaic array. A photovoltaic array is defined as an array, as defined in this section, also including any additional components such as source circuit isolating switches, overcurrent devices, and blocking diodes, up to and including the photovoltaic output circuit conductors. The reasoning behind this addition is that there are numerous instances where the terminology used to refer to system components on either side of the disconnecting means required by Section 690.13 and 690.14 changes from one subsection to the next, even though the subject and components of the system remain the same. Using consistent and defined terminology is crucial for clarity and accuracy. The proposed term photovoltaic array and its definition accomplish both goals. The existing definition of array in Section 690.2 will also be revised. The current definition reads: array, a mechanically integrated assembly of one or more modules or panels with a support structure and foundation, tracker, and other components, as required, to form a direct current power producing unit. The substantiation for this revision is that the proposed changes to Sections 690.13 and 690.14 will specifically identify the disconnecting means covered as the photovoltaic array disconnecting means. The current definition of array does not explicitly include an assembly consisting of only one module or panel. Consequently, the term photovoltaic array could be interpreted as excluding single module or single panel assemblies. To avoid this potential misinterpretation, the definition of array should be revised to include single module or panel arrays, recognizing that such configurations are possible and should fall within the scope of the definition. Revisions to Section 690.13, specifically addressing disconnecting means, are proposed. The current Section 690.13 states all conductors means shall be provided to disconnect all current carrying conductors of a photovoltaic power source from all other conductors in a building or other structure. Where a circuit grounding conductor is not designed to be automatically interrupted as part of a ground fault protection system required by 690.5, a switch or circuit breaker used as a disconnecting means shall not have a pole in the grounded conductor. The proposed revision replaces this with 690.13. All photovoltaic array conductors means shall be provided to disconnect all current carrying conductors of all photovoltaic arrays from all other conductors in a building or other structure. where a circuit grounding conductor is not designed to be automatically interrupted as part of a ground fault protection system required by 690.5, a switch or circuit breaker used as a disconnecting means shall not have a pole in the grounded conductor. The substantiation for this change is that to maintain consistency, the existing term photovoltaic power source should be replaced with the proposed term photovoltaic arrays. Further revisions are proposed for section 690.14, which covers additional provisions. The current section states photovoltaic disconnecting means shall comply with 690.14 through C. The proposed revision modifies this to read photovoltaic array disconnecting means shall comply with 690.14 through C. The rationale for this change is that the term photovoltaic, on its own, is vague and can be associated with any part of the solar photovoltaic system or the entire system. Replacing it with the more specific term photovoltaic array provides greater clarity. Subsection 690.14b concerning equipment is also subject to revision. The current wording is equipment such as photovoltaic source circuit isolating switches, overcurrent devices, and blocking diodes shall be permitted on the photovoltaic side of the photovoltaic disconnecting means. The proposed revision changes this to equipment such as photovoltaic source circuit isolating switches, overcurrent devices, and blocking diodes shall be permitted on the photovoltaic array side of the photovoltaic array disconnecting means. The substantiation remains consistent. The term photovoltaic is vague and can be associated with any part of the solar photovoltaic system or the entire system, so it should be replaced with the proposed term photovoltaic array. A key revision is proposed for subsection 690.14c, which outlines requirements for disconnecting means. The current text states means shall be provided to disconnect all conductors in a building or other structure from the photovoltaic system conductors. The proposed revision offers two options: either delete this subsection entirely or revise it to read means shall be provided to disconnect all conductors in a building or other structure from the photovoltaic output circuit conductors. The reasoning behind this is that 690.14c is largely redundant, as it essentially repeats the requirement already stated in 690.13. Therefore, deleting it would streamline the code. However, if it is not deleted, the existing undefined term photovoltaic system conductors should be replaced with the proposed term photovoltaic output circuit conductors. This is partly because the definition of solar photovoltaic system in section 690.2 could lead to the misinterpretation of photovoltaic system conductors as referring to the inverter output circuit. Finally, subsection 690.14 which deals with location, is also targeted for revision. The current section states the photovoltaic disconnecting means shall be installed at a readily accessible location either outside of a building or structure or inside nearest the point of entry of the system conductors. The photovoltaic system disconnecting means shall not be installed in bathrooms. The proposed revision modifies this to read the photovoltaic array disconnecting means shall be installed at a readily accessible location either outside of a building or structure or inside nearest the point of entry of the photovoltaic output circuit conductors. The photovoltaic array disconnecting means shall not be installed in bathrooms. The substantiation for this change is that the existing terms are not clearly defined, and there are corresponding terms that have definitions in 690.2. The revised wording incorporates those defined terms along with the proposed term photovoltaic array to improve clarity and consistency. In summary, the proposed revisions to sections 690.13 and 690.14 of the National Electrical Code aim to clarify and refine the requirements for disconnecting means in solar photovoltaic systems. By introducing the term photovoltaic array, providing a clear definition, and consistently using it throughout the relevant sections, the revisions seek to eliminate ambiguity and ensure that the code is easily understood and correctly applied. These changes also address the potential for misinterpretations arising from the use of undefined terms and the broad definition of solar photovoltaic system. By focusing on the photovoltaic output circuit conductors, the revisions ensure that the disconnecting means requirements are appropriately targeted at the photovoltaic power source, rather than inadvertently encompassing the inverter output circuit. The goal is a more precise and unambiguous code that promotes safety and consistency in the installation and operation of solar photovoltaic systems. These revisions are based on the 2017 NEC